Hello, and welcome to How to Play D&D, the explainer podcast of one experienced dungeon master and one failed scriptwriter to discuss D&D topics. My name is Kinsey, and my spectacular guest this week is none other than Jess from Plot.Girl. Hello, Jess.
Hi, lovely to be here. Lovely to meet you. Very excited about today.
Do you know what? Thank you very much, because no one's ever been delighted to see me, excited to be here. So it is a
That
new
is
year,
so
new
rude.
beginnings, new year.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much for that. What is this week's episode that you're covering?
Today's episode is about player experiences.
Let's get to it. Okay, so today's episode is player experiences with Jess. Player experiences, I wouldn't know anything about that because people never show up to my games. Jess, have I made a mistake selling crocodile eggs as duck eggs at my local farmer's market? Will crocodile eggs see a plummet in the market? What am I doing?
Look, it's Veganuary. I'm not really sure.
Oh, yeah, that's fair. That's totally fair. And
Yeah.
actually managed to bring logic to an insane question. So thank you very much for being the first to do that.
Yeah.
Into the real questions. Why did you first start playing D&D? What made you want to try it?
I first sort of heard about it, saw it in Community.
Okay.
Some of their episodes about D&D, I was like, this looks crazy, this looks fun. Obviously, it's not really anything like what it's like to actually play the game, but
Mm.
I saw it and I thought, okay, I need to play this. So it was on my mind for a little while, and then I almost had a campaign get together in like an office situation, which didn't really work out. And then when I moved to the UK, I was really fortunate enough that I knew someone who was going into a homebrew campaign and was like, Jess, do you want to join? And I was like, can I swear?
Oh yeah, you can do what you want. Don't worry
Fuck
about
yeah.
it. And no one's ever asked me if that's so funny.
Don't want to demonetize you or anything. So, but yeah,
Oh,
fuck
like I
yeah.
said, yeah, we swear all the time. I'm with the questions that I put out like that earlier. I never stood a chance, so it's fine.
Okay. Okay, good.
Yeah, yeah. That well, do you know what? Like that first campaign kind of like about to happen, then it doesn't. That's D&D. Like that's the pinnacle of D&D, that things are planned and don't happen. So
Yeah.
you know that's a true player experience.
We know that like the BBEG is always going to be scheduling or like even just
Yeah,
getting everyone at the table to begin with.
100%, 100%. Is there a specific type of character that you like to play? So maybe a class. I know we've gone straight from that to that, but I always feel like putting this in is like really important, because a lot of the times you might have a class you like playing, like most times you make a character. Is there a type of like personality that you like putting across regardless of the campaign and player you're making?
Yeah, I really love playing sorcerers. I end
Okay.
up playing them, but I've in now that I've been playing for a while and I mostly DM to be honest, I think I put more stock into other classes that I haven't played before. I'm really into rogue at the moment. Even ranger, which I know that isn't very popular amongst everyone. But I like Ranger. And I do like playing against type. I like playing characters that are unlike me as well.
Mm.
Um, I find that a really fun challenge. So I can be really frustrated easily when I play D&D with like puzzles or circumstances and playing someone who is maybe like used to being clipped on the chin. I think that's a fun kind of way to play it, whereas I'd usually just be like angry.
I do. I totally agree. Like I do feel like that's what you should be doing. There's no right or wrong, but like I think the best moments for me when I'm playing or even DMing and I see other players is when you know that type of person, and then what they play is something very different. And in a
Mm,
situation they'd be uncomfortable as a person, but they
yeah.
go for it as the player, and then as a person after, they feel like they can do it because they got to have a practice run, in a game. So
Yeah.
I always find that like such a like huge moment of success.
Yeah, I think it builds more skills as well, in terms of like empathy and stuff when you're put into positions where you're not really comfortable. And I think
Mm.
playing characters so unlike yourself means you get the opportunity to walk in the shoes of someone that I don't know, that you wouldn't really be like.
Yeah.
So it's good practice for getting out in the real world. It's certainly cured my social anxiety, or at least helped.
Yeah, yeah. It will never
Yeah.
cure it. That's let's be honest. We're
Yeah.
playing D&D. If anything,
Yeah.
it heightens it at points as well. So,
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
are there any specific experiences for you that have stood out?
Um, yeah, absolutely. I think uh I was playing a lot of D&D a couple of years ago. I was really fortunate to live really close by my D&D party, and we all played like 3 times a week. It was great. Um, I had a lot of trust in my DM and I was really invested. And I think that my favorite memories were like crying at the table, like basically being traumatized by my DM. The dynamic was like a kind of a abusive parent.
Right, okay.
Um, but like not weird.
Yeah, yeah. You
And
do what you want to do as long as everyone agrees at the table.
yeah, no,
There's no
I don't think anyone was uncomfortable. So I'm sure I would have it was all safe.
yeah.
But it was really, I think, powerful to have that relationship with my DM and to be able to like experience those emotions on behalf of my character. I mean, wins in combat, of course, are always going to make the top moments too, like standing as one of the last like people on the battlefield having used like every potion, every scroll, every spell, every meta magic point, and
Mm.
then like knowing that you literally put everything into it. I think there's nothing better.
At my table, we call those like super anime moments. So we have
Yeah.
like a whiteboard where it's like, the DMs and the players like nat 20s, nat ones for this session. And then it's like their moment where they've managed to do something that could only be in like in
Yeah.
an anime. It's like, yeah, the perfect roll of a dice in that moment is
Yeah,
incredible. Um,
absolutely.
what as a player, what kind of table of people are you chasing to play alongside? So by that, I don't mean like, oh, if I could play with these five people in the world, that would be it. What kind of personalities do you like at that table that you can be comfortable, you're going to get the best out of the game, the best out of you as a person and as a character, I suppose.
I think that first and foremost, I really appreciate having players who are emotionally intelligent. So, like people who can pick up on that it's your moment and not someone else's, or like likewise allows you to step back and observe their moment and kind of like root for them as well. So, I really like a table where you feel supported in chasing your backstory arc and not like you're being made to feel as if you're taking up too much airtime. And I do think there is a line, obviously, you want to be respectful of everyone else's
Mm,
airtime at the table. But yeah, just people who fully invest, who want to make the Pinterest boards and the collages and the playlists and want to make like fanfic. I mean,
mm.
that's what I want. I want that.
There's definitely a level at every table or spectrum, should we say, of like how involved people get, but you do want to feel comfortable with the fact that when it is your moment, people will support that. But then
Yeah.
you know that means that you should be intelligent enough to or empathetic enough to be like, well, now it's their moment, or actually they're not getting involved so much. How can I help them get
Yeah.
involved so much? And out like you were saying about the Pinterest boards and stuff. I mean, it's not everyone needs to do it. It's not like you're required to do that when you turn up at the table, but it's nice to know that, especially from a DM point of view, that people are interested beyond the table, that they
Yes.
they like it enough to still think about it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think investment is like especially if you're not doing it for money, investment is the best reward.
Yeah, yeah, massively. Okay, so has there been a moment where you felt like it wasn't the group for you?
Yeah, definitely. Um, I think differences in tone are really
Yeah.
important. I've turned up with the critical role vibe, and the table's been Dimension 20, which is really fine. But I think I've definitely had DMs who were quite sadistic, that I really wouldn't entrust um my PC with them again.
Mm.
Yeah, I think I mean you have so much trust in a DM, right? So like when they take your character for you from you and start making decisions on your behalf or like handicapping you in these ways, it's like, okay, this is not what I signed up for. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, it's not a question on it, but what is it that you want from a DM when you're at that table?
I think I think it's security. Um, I don't need to feel like my character is really safe. I'm really happy if my character is towing the line between life and death.
Mm,
But I want the security to know that my story is safe with them and that I'm not just gonna get nerfed on a whim, that that story is equally as important to them and that the things that happen are because of the story, not because of unresolved issues out of the table or
mm,
maybe the DM was having a bad day, I don't know. But I
yeah.
think the security of knowing that they are always going to be the referee instead of the punisher.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about it so much on the podcast about, even I mean, the ongoing joke in the D&D community is people who don't play it. When you talk about it, they'll go, "Oh, how do you win?" It's like there isn't really a win, but there's also no one playing against you. So,
Yeah,
the DM is setting stuff up for you to play against, but the DM's not against you. It's just
yeah,
allowing you to do things. So the dice are against you probably, but that's it, right? So yeah,
yeah,
I think you're right. It's really important. It's also about reading the room.
yeah,
Between players and players and DM is kind of knowing what feels right when you turn up, the tone you were talking about, and knowing that the DM is not there because they've had a bad day, so they're going to make sure they take it out on you.
yeah.
That's like neglect, but weirdly in a friend group that you've all turned up for. It's odd.
It's like toxic. Yeah, I'm not
Yeah.
into that.
No, you're meant to be having some escapism from the real world, so
Yeah,
that's where it should be free.
yeah. I don't want to play. I'm not here to play taxes. I'm not here to be beaten up by the DM. I want to slay dragons and defeat the CEOs that we can't take down in the real world.
Exactly, exactly. How does scheduling work in your current sessions? So obviously this is a player experiences, and scheduling, as we said earlier, is like the BBG of D&D.
Mm.
If you're in any campaigns right now or kind of like ongoing one shots that kind of link together, how does that work for you?
Well, like I said, I mostly DM nowadays, so I basically give my availability to the group and I let them select in the poll.
Nice.
Because I think like at the end of the day, if the DM can't turn up, then there's not a game. So
Yeah.
um as much as I know that a lot of DMs don't want to be hassled with the organization of it all, I also think it's just easier for players to be like, oh, those days work for me. I mean, because it's pretty non-committal, isn't it? If
Mm.
players aren't, I don't know, paying, it's hard to get an investment sometimes. So yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. A lot of people who I've interviewed in the last few days actually have said the polls on like Discord or WhatsApp have like completely changed their scheduling because it's so much more kind of like loosey goosey that you can, if it doesn't have to be every Monday now, as long as
Yeah.
that poll's there and you can commit to that, you don't have to require. It's just a lot easier to communicate.
I think it's really rigid to have one day. I know that it works for some people, but if I want to go to a gig or if someone else has got a birthday, I think it shouldn't be so. I mean, it's for fun, right? So it shouldn't really be taking you away from your everyday life.
Yeah, yeah, that's totally understandable.
Yeah.
Um, so a bit of a less boring question now, other than scheduling. What is the dream setting that you'd love to play in? So it could just be, it's something that's already like a module, but or is there like some kind of IP that you'd love to transfer to D&D, something you're looking to try?
Ooh. Um, I could forever play within Barovia in The Curse of Strahd. I
Yeah,
am like a die-hard Strahd fan. I just don't think there's any other module that tops it.
yeah,
But I think I love Gothic horror. I could really have any kind of, I don't know, because when I think about all the books that make me feel that kind of way, they're all like Gothic horror, but they're about like a damsel, and I don't really think that's playable at a table. But I don't know. I think just Curse of Strahd.
yeah. It's like the romanticism of like a period horror, I suppose. If it's not a damsel that you're playing, it's that kind of bit like oh my God, how can I reference it and then not remember the name? What came out last year, the film,
Nosferatu?
Nosferatu, that kind of
Yeah.
where that's that's that would be my reference. So there's like romanticism in it and it's gorgeous, but then at the same time that has this kind of like baseline horror aspect.
Yeah, like the fear and the dread. I just I really love like high emotional games. So I want to play games where I feel something. Like
Hmm.
I want to be role playing and fighting and stuff like that, but I want it to feel really deep. So I think there's like a dread that is quite consuming when you play Coast of Strahd because it's like it touches on so many topical issues that not only are we facing now, but have been like historically present as well. Um, of like classes, of like sexism and stuff like that. And I love exploring that, and that as a BBEG is really super fun.
So is that important in a game to you that there are kind of real life thematics like you kind of like played into the game, or are it is completely dependent on like the day, the campaign you're in. You know what you're getting into. There's a session zero, or it's at least spoken about, and you go right. Well, I know for this, it's just that, and for this, I can really kind of like emotionally be invested in this. There's more kind of at stake to be spoken about.
Yeah, I think I mean like I also play in Frost Maiden. I'm running The Wild Beyond the Witchlight. There's definitely games that I can play that are lighter. I'd like a more serious, darker tone. What was the question again?
No, no, it was literally just about, you said about you love like kind of really like high stakes.
Oh, real world aspects of it.
Yeah, and there's things that kind of transfer over to like what can be discussed, the thematics of kind of like class systems, like
Yeah.
I guess politics in general is a good like over like an umbrella to it all. Is that the kind of thing like you really love chasing as a player?
Yes. I think I Yeah, because it is an escape in a way, and yeah, I do want to overcome these things that seem to like oppress us.
Mm.
But at the same time, it doesn't have to be. Um, yeah.
I
Uh,
guess I guess
it
like
depends.
yeah, because I'm similar. I like the darker kind of tone. I like it to feel serious, but the players can make it goofy. Not
Yeah, I mean,
24/7. There's always a where there's comedy, there's tragedy, and vice
yes.
versa. But I guess when it comes to the thematics of something, I mean, in my campaign, it's not necessarily. There's definitely class systems and politics, but not so much to other things that I would play in rather than DM. I guess it would come down to like it feels like you can conquer sexism in a game, but you can't conquer that in real life. And so that's nice
Yeah.
that you can do it in a game. At least there's some kind of win.
Yeah, I think there's like a powerlessness that we feel as humans, as
Mm,
the underlings, and I think that it's really nice in a fantasy game to be able to play with those. It is like you said, I do like a darker tone, and I think there is a really you have to be really careful to like have that equilibrium of levity versus darkness,
mm,
because without the levity, without the levity, you can't feel the depths of that darkness, and likewise, if you don't have the mirror of hope and um like love and found family and stuff like that, then it doesn't quite have the same effect. I think you need both.
mm.
Um, and it's about finding the balance, but yeah.
Nice. Well, yeah, I think that was really nice. Well, very well spoken, considering it's like a tough topic, really. The last question, then, we do get through these very fast, is what's one piece of advice you could give people who want to play D&D for the first time?
Okay. I think probably everyone says this, but you really don't need to know anything. You don't need the fancy dice. You don't need a nice notebook. You don't need to even have D&D Beyond. I know professional DMs who have never read the Dungeon Master's Guide. You don't need
Mm,
to know the rules. It's just about community and telling stories, and you'll learn as you go. And every table is different, so no matter what table you end up at, you guys will create the game together. That would
mm.
that'd be my
I,
advice.
it's a double-edged sword, isn't it? Because before you get into it, you think, "Oh, this could be scary." It's like very mathsy, very. It might be a bit too nerdy, even for me. And then you
Yeah.
get there and you go, "Oh, it's none of those things." And then your next fear is, "Oh God, I've got so many opportunities." That's now the scary thing, rather than before it was
Yeah.
restrictions. So it's
Yeah.
you like that anxiety you're talking about. You just kind of got to get stuck in, realize that
Yeah.
there are no rules. You make them up as you go along as a group, more so than
Yeah.
anything, and have fun. That's the point.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that it can be really paralyzing for new players being like, I don't really know what it is I can and can't do because I've got these rules, but they don't apply to like everything in the game. And um, but yeah, it's like literally just like, what would you do? What would you do? And just do that.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, but oh, it's just such a great game. I just wish I could just make everyone play it. I've seen so many people come into this game who I never thought would be into it, who I thought would like, sh I don't know, laugh at the role play and be so unserious. And they come into the game and they're like kids, and you can see that like magic in their eyes as
Mm.
they're like, oh, this is what I've been missing. This is like the magic.
The amount of times where someone will go, "Oh, so you do that podcast? Or, oh, you play that?" They'll have some kind of insight as that I do this thing, rather than
Yeah,
me just going, "I do this. I talk about this." And then they'll kind of be like, a bit of an offhand comment where they'll just say, "Oh, well, how do you even do it?" And they don't actually care, but they're just kind of
yeah,
being polite. And then you'll say, "Oh, well, in this room, what are you going to do next?" And then they'll say, "Oh, I'm just going to pick this cup up." And you go, "All right, well, roll for it."
yeah,
Because obviously in D&D you wouldn't make the roll for that, but they go, oh, there's some kind of gambling aspect or something where, oh, it's chance. And then they're instantly more tied to it that it's not like complete free will at the same
yeah.
time of control. So, yeah, I think I don't think there's a single person who could dislike D&D. I just don't think they realize yet that it's so that fun for them and good for them as well.
I think like Deborah Ann Wall really changed the game when the famous clip with her and John Bernthal.
Yeah, oh,
I
yeah,
think
yeah, so good.
like I can do that to anyone, like with any kind of setting, just kind of like what you've said, like what will you grab next in the room or whatever. And literally, like piques the attention of every single person you do it
Mm.
to. They're no longer like, is it a board game? It's always like, oh, okay, wow, there's chance involved, and it's like narrative and immersive and stuff. Yeah.
I think the board game thing's a really good thing to jump on quickly because as soon as weirdly like it feels freeing to people who aren't necessarily into board games to know that there's not a
Hmm.
board involved, even though it's just a physical thing that most board games don't require it. You could do snakes and ladders without that. You could just put the numbers on the table.
Yeah.
But it's funny they go, oh, it's not that, so that's one less thing I have to think about. And you're like, you never really, but a lot of things you don't need to think about. So it's
I
quite
didn't
funny
even
that
think
that
about it like that. That's so funny.
yeah, it is. You see that they'll have that moment, like you said, the child lighting up for the first time. They go, "Oh,
Yeah.
one less thing I don't have to bring." So it's quite funny. It's like I guess it's like looking at it through like the looking glass of other people who are like it's alien to them. It's
Yeah.
funny how unalien it is actually because you're just doing real life things in a different environment.
I think when you watch like Stranger Things, I think because of the grid, like the map that they use, it
Yeah,
almost looks like a board game. So I completely get why people think that. I don't think I
yeah.
ever thought it was a board game, but I
No, I
mean,
didn't either. I mean, most of the time when I'm running sessions, it's completely theater of the mind, even though the people are
yeah,
at my table in my house.
yeah,
It's not. And you'll get miniatures out if it feels that you were like, oh, I saw this piece. I'm definitely going to put that into the story, or
yeah,
I've written the story. I want to find a good piece because that'd be a really good moment to have something physical. I
yeah,
don't feel like I need physical things to do that. It just feels like I know these people so well. They would love if I pulled that out at this point. Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
It's weird when people feel like the weight or like the incumbent of actually just having physical things is almost too scary to play. So it's quite a strange aspect. I see that a lot with people who've never played. They think they're gonna have to like buy loads of stuff just to get started.
yeah. And you totally don't. I do, but you totally don't.
Yeah, yeah, you don't, but I am in debt. So.
Yeah. I'm like
Okay,
a level 7 susceptible.
yeah, yeah. Okay, well, thank you very much. Today's adventure sadly come to a close. We're back in next week with the topic. Did the inventor of the word sale know it would be cheapened over time? And as always, thank you for tuning in. And if you'd like to join the D&D action, then please follow us on Instagram at How to Play D&D or check out the link in our bio to join the Discord server. And also check out Black Mark Clo on Instagram for cool D&D clothing. Jess, what is your handle? Where can we find you? And what do you do?
I am Plot.Girl. I think it might be Plot.Girl on Instagram. I in general release videos about D&D on YouTube, although I've been a little bit slack over the holiday season, so
Everyone has. It's all good. It's you.
I need to
You.
get back into
The
that.
D&D community is slack anyway. Don't worry
Yeah.
about it. They're all listening to this going, I get that girl. Don't-
Thank you so much for having me, though.
No, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Of course, as always, everything that we've spoken about, there'll be links to Jess's stuff in the show notes, and I'm sure we'll be tagging each other and collaborating anyway on this piece. So you will not be missed. They will find you. Yeah. So I've been Connor Kinsey.
I'm Jess, Plot
Good,
Girl.
good day.
Good day.